it's your girl! And obviously my background has changed again. I am back in England. It makes me feel like I'm coming back to my roots a bit because everything here has been, it's really from the beginning of when I started trying to do YouTube. I think Tyke is kind of a fucking cunt. Masturbating is the only thing that really matters and takes you places. And then there's just being a plain old bitch. But although I'm visiting in England, of course, I mostly live in Japan. Living in Japan, especially during this pandemic, foreigners aren't as common as a sight for Japanese people as it used to be. So sometimes when I'm going to a restaurant or say a bar and I get to talking with the bartender or waitress, they usually get on the question of, well, why are you here? What are you doing in Japan? And of course, I kind of dance around and say, oh, I'm a YouTuber. And of course, they're gonna ask, well, what kind of YouTuber? And most of the time, I'm like, oh, Himitsu. But sometimes, especially if I've had a few drinks or maybe the mood is light and I'm enjoying my conversation, I say, Ero YouTuber. And of course, their reaction is like, oh my God. But every single time I've said it, every single fucking time I've ever told anybody in Japan what sort of YouTube I have, they always ask the same fucking question. Have you ever done a video on futari ecchi? Now before I keep going on with this video, I would like to first give thanks to today's sponsor, Boxu. Boxu is a premium Japanese snack box that not only offers you gourmet snacks, but also just the details and tradition and Japanese heritage behind them. Each box has its own pamphlet about each snack on it and talks about where it's from, what's it taste like, what's in it. So if you are ever scared about having allergies or maybe you don't want to eat certain products, it has a whole list of them as well. This month's Boxu theme is Moonbox. So there's plenty of beautiful, delicious snacks that you can enjoy with your partner or with your friends under the moonlight, leisurely. Boxu is all about the Japanese gourmet experience. So literally each snack is not a normal snack you can just go find anywhere online, but they are actually handcrafted by different Japanese bakers all across the country. So you never really get something that you may have had before. Honestly, Boxu has been a sponsor for my channel consistently for months now, and it has been an honor. Their snacks are literally one of my most favorite things I look forward to each month. So if you would like to know more about Boxu, all the links are in the description. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. They are just delicious as, oh my God, I love them. Use my code Sydsnap10 and get 10% off your own authentic Japanese subscription box from Boxu. Once again, that is Sydsnap10. Thank you again to Boxu, and let's get back to the video. Now, when it was first brought up to me, I had no idea what this manga was. I've never heard of it before, but I came to find after doing more research on it, it's kind of a Japanese ecchi staple. Now, futari ecchi is exactly what it says on the tin. It is a manga about two people who have just recently gotten married and never had sex before, learning how to have sex. Now, of course, it sounds like your typical hentai manga, maybe a little more vanilla than anything else, but although it is a manga completely about having sex, it is by no means a hentai. Let's get into this because God knows you weebs need to know. Now, to preface, us weebs, we don't know a lot about sex education, do we? I mean, I got my sex education completely from hentai. So this manga from the late 90s to early 2000s was essentially a godsend because futari ecchi is a manga completely about teaching you how to have proper sex. This isn't the kind of manga you'd want to get off to. No, this is a manga completely about having, safe, normal sex. It has graphics, it has, charts about statistics, it has everything you could ever know. This is what sex education classes aim to be, okay? They're having boners for this manga instead of the other way around. We are reversing this shit. Sex education is of course not really a thing, especially in Japan. So this was truly, this manga when it was released was spread nationwide. I think everybody knows of this manga in Japan because it teaches you basic things that you do need to know that of course aren't very common knowledge, like the types of hymens you could have or where your erogenous zones may be, or, what part of your vagina or, the girth of your dick, what could be the compatibility? I learned so much really actual, helpful, and meaningful information from this manga that I honestly just started reading for the shits and giggles. I'm like, a manga teaching weebs to have sex? Oh my God, I can wonder, because it's it makes you wonder, because clearly the person who wrote this manga, that would mean that they had sex. And no, please don't put that in. Don't put that in, Dakota.
Hey, Sid? Yeah, about that raise.
But reading it, I learned so much about my own body, and it's weird. It's so weird, the fact that I learned this from a manga rather than my own sort of life. Like, there's literally a chapter about what kind of dicks men can have. Like, you wanna know what kind of dick you have? Like the motherfucking horoscope? No better fucking place. And although it is mostly about teaching people how to have sex, the storyline to it can be quite wholesome as well. It is about a couple, of course, coming together, learning about, how to be physically intimate, as well as, seeing them grow as a couple, seeing them sort of go through the trials and tribulations of being in a relationship and seeing them overcome it. As any normal couple is. Reading the manga, you don't feel embarrassed or you don't feel, hot and heavy. You don't really feel anything but kind of like an interest in what you're looking at. Initially sex education or any type of education, especially you're not gonna sit down and read an anatomy book about how your body reacts during sex, okay? But seeing that, it was super interesting because, it is literally, we're human and I know nothing about sexual anything. So not only does it teach you about sex education, but it also teaches you and lets you see the reality of having a relationship. It's perfect for you weebs. You guys get to learn, you guys get to see what it would be like if anybody actually wanted to date you. Now, this series might already look familiar to you because, believe it or not, it was actually officially translated in English and distributed in America, and it was distributed under the name The Manga Karma Sutra. I might have just I always say it a different way. But of course, it was kind of removed from bookshelves after it became more apparent of what it was, which is actually teaching kids how to have proper sex. High schools don't want you to know about this forbidden secret. I think you can find some still now, but they're very, very rare. Of course, they had to be out of print. So if you have it, cherish it, like the gold it's worth. But side note, there is actually one character in the manga that actually actively keeps pissing me off, and it's the brother. Like, he follows a couple everywhere and makes sure they're constantly having sex. And he also says some very concerning things. Heads up, here's an example. He makes an argument about if you're married to a woman, you should be able to rape them anytime you want. And it makes me kind of want to murder him. Just a lot actually. And although I do love the premise and seeing the couple grow, I really don't like the husband, Makoto, either. Because he is extremely pushy for sex, and he's seemingly gawking at every woman that is walking by him. He also puts his wife down constantly to his coworkers. I mean, look at this bitch. This hot anime beauty gave you her fucking virginity, and you're gonna put her down? Like, look at you. You look like every hentai protagonist. Maybe this is where the basis came from. A lot of Japanese youth, especially during its early runtime, got their sexual education from futari ecchi, and I find that just quite interesting and amazing in its own way. I am even more surprised that futari ecchi is still an ongoing manga series that is being printed to this day. There are literally hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of chapters all about sex education and all these things, and I didn't even know there could be that much information. I mean, how much is there? I don't know. I could become a sex education teacher and I'll just prop down all these books and be like, this is my job, done! Maybe it teaches you, like, how if you open your, like, because in hentai, they open their nipples, right? And, like, they put the dick, how? That's not possible, right? People can't do that, right? I guess I'll have to fucking read to find out, huh? Thank you guys for watching this video. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. If you like my content and are thinking about supporting this channel, then please check out my Patreon links in the description or check it out right here. I love making this content, I really do, but obviously most of it ain't monetized. Thank you guys to my patrons who are all on screen right now. And I'll see you all real soon. Ta-ta, real smooth now. Bye! I'll probably be in Japan next time you see me. Bye. Bye.